House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
House to Home is back, and this is the segment brought to you right here on KUM and featuring my lovely friends from Remax Diamond Realty. And of course, you know, it's become a running segment, a running gag, if you will, on this program where we battle each week, Liz, Gina, and myself, Jason Salas, and who's got the best Zoom virtual background. Ladies, this week I've got the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So you see right here, I got the Queen, I got Meryl Streep, but you guys are my queens. You guys have taught me all I know about real estate. So
I'm not saying a thing about being your queen, not a thing.
Well, your Majesties, if I may. Okay, so Liz, that's a beautiful shot. I'm seeing that's
a
maybe?
shot of our beautiful island. So it's probably out of Teason to get that angle. I'm not quite sure.
Very nice.
I borrowed the photo.
Okay. Oh, okay. And Gina, I think we've seen your virtual background before, but you get a pass because your blouse matches it.
That's right. I'm blending in.
There you go. Okay. So more pressing matters, I would assume, are, you know, I like how you phrase that, blending in, right? Because I know when we first started doing this segment years and years ago, we talked about the fact that many people think that as a real estate agent, they just come to you, you guys crank out a price, you know, like within 5 seconds, but you guys have educated me. It doesn't work that way at all. There's a lot of papers that have to be filed, of numbers that have to be calculated, and calls that have to be made by the fine folks in your profession.
And not just numbers and documents, but investigative work. I always tell the agents, I spend more time investigating the listing before I list. I find that that's what consumes a lot of my time. Like for residential, I need to see it. I need to dig up as much info as I can on it. I want it measured. I don't take it for granted that my owners have that information accurately. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's my job to make sure that what I publish and what I give out to customers is accurate, so that in doing that, I'm really protecting the owner. I don't want anything to come back and haunt them because I advertise something inaccurately.
Okay, now Liz, not just in the real estate business, but across private industry, you know, time is money and time is valuable. And the time that you spent working on job A basically means that's time you could take away from working on job B, right? So say you go out and you do, like Gina said, you go out and you do your investigative work, you site assess a property, and then somebody comes back, a completely different client 3 months later. How often can you reuse this information, or because I'm assuming like you don't want to go out over and over and over again for a property that may or may not have changed?
Well, as Gina says, we need to go out and verify the information. And once we've verified it, for example, like measurements, if they have an old appraisal, usually it'll show the square footage of the net square footage of the house. It'll show the measurement of the garage. When appraisers go out there, they do their job to measure the property. So if I'm listing a house, then I would ask, do you have an old copy of an appraisal, because there's a section in that appraisal that shows the measurements of the house. So that data is pretty good, unless they've extended, let's say, one bedroom or added a carport or added something to the home, and then that would change it. But in terms of, as Gina puts it, we have to go in there. Some of the things we look at in part of our investigation, of course, is the condition of the home. Has it been upgraded? Because that will make a difference in terms of its value. We look at the setbacks. If they know where their boundary points, we want to know, is it within the government code, 8 feet from the sides, 10 feet from the front, 15 feet from the front side, 10 feet from the rear side. So there are things we look at. And part of the reason we do this, we don't want to anticipate we try to anticipate any issue so that when we're close to closing, there's no hiccup, and then it stops everything. So if there is a setback issue, we have to look at when was it built. there's just so much that we do. Was it during a variance, we need a variance? Was it built between 92 to, what is it, Gina, 96? Because there's an issue of setbacks during that window of time. So
now,
there's
Gina,
so many factors.
Okay, now Gina, you of course, and you've said this many, many times over the years, and without shadow of a doubt, you find folks at REMAX, you guys advocate for the customer. How much of your assessment when you guys go on site and take a look at a piece of property, whether residential or commercial, you can use your own gut instinct and your own experience, I'd say, and you can say, okay, you come back to the customer and say, this property is in good versus great versus excellent condition. How much of that is your own opinion, and how much of that, do you have to say, this is what the letter of the law says and this is what land management says?
When it comes to condition, honestly, I believe that's always opinion. It's either my opinion, the buyer's opinion, or the appraiser's opinion, because condition is, how does it look, right? So how does it look? Is it modernized? I could look at something and say, wow, this is really modernized. And Liz will look at it and say, oh, this is not modernized enough, because those things are a matter of opinion. They really are. But what's not a matter of opinion? This square footage. I mean, that's an exact science. Measure it out. And I'm one of those, I'm a black and white type of person. If you didn't measure it out, at least disclose in the documents somewhere in your, we use multiple listing service to give out information to the public and to other realtors. At least disclose in there, this was my best guess. But, Liz and I, we don't do best guess. I mean, I think I don't do that. I either get a copy of the appraisal, as Liz said, or I pay someone, I pay to have that property measured if my owner cannot give me the floor plan from an appraisal that was done previously, where I can take that floor plan and walk through the property and say, yeah, based on this floor plan, you did not make any changes. And what else is not a guess? An opinion. Zoning. Zoning is an exact science. It's either this zone or it's not. It chaps my hide these days. So many realtors will put in MLS zoning unknown. What the hell is that?
And that's the online system.
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody had Tabasco for breakfast this morning.
Oh, I wake up like this. I told you.
Well, that's good, and that just shows, your fiery temper would probably reflect your fiery passion for giving the customer the best value for their money.
My passion for accuracy. Yes, I make mistakes, but not because I didn't try hard. It's I make mistakes because sometimes information just isn't out there. Mm-hmm. But zoning, the government has zonings on almost everything except properties that were given back, right? All of those properties that were returned. In some cases, the zoning was not determined when we took the listing. But in every other case, especially residential, it really does annoy me when I open MLS and it says zoning unknown. That just tells me you didn't make an effort, because you can get that from land management. So if you don't have it, then I'm sorry, you were just lazy about it. And why are owners paying us to be lazy? I got
to tell you, I do love you guys working, and it's fitting that I use like a Hollywood background right now, because like when I see you guys, get so passionate about getting the best value. Are you not entertained? Okay, Liz. With that very bad impersonation of Russell Crowe, Liz, we'll give you the final word on on what you do when you actually go out there, and how much of that is any room for nuance, if any.
I mean, it at least for Gina and myself is pretty basic. There's stuff we've got to look for, and we're there to, because the owner may not is not experienced in this type of work. So we go out there and we let them know. I mean, if there's a deficiency in the house that we have had some expertise, we're not engineers. However, if there's a visible crack in the roof and it's leaking, we're going to say, hey, these are items you're going to have to take care of. So I usually ask our owners, do you mind? I'm pretty upfront. I'm straight up. I'll tell you what I see. And are you okay with that? And I ask for permission first. It's not that we're being critical of the property. We want to make sure we do our job to sell it. So we're on the lookout for any issues that could crop up during, after. So we have a long range view of the property, of any issues that could crop up. And then what I do as well is brief them. If this happens, this is the scenario. We kind of brief them on different scenarios that could happen through the course of the sale. But again, the critical part is inspecting it, making sure we've done our due diligence that is reflective when we upload the property into the system, which includes the market value as well. But inspection is most critical because that'll determine where it fits in the market and where the competition is in relationship to their property.
All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. Once again, you know, like, I know you put so much of your heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears into your job, because it's all about giving the consumer confidence that when they make a decision to buy the home of their dreams, they made the right call through you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, Liz, or Gina, I should say, next time, decaf, please. And we will see you guys next time right here in Household. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.